The first time I met her, I wasn't expecting anything important to happen. It was a quiet Saturday afternoon. My mom had invited her best friend over for coffee. I had just gotten back from a long shift at work and planned to disappear into my room, maybe watch something mindless and sleep. I remember hearing laughter from the kitchen before I even took off my shoes. Not the loud kind, the soft kind that fills a house. When I walked in, my mom was sitting at the table, and across from her was a woman I had never seen before. She looked up first. "Hey," she said casually, like we already knew each other. My mom smiled. "Oh good, you're home. This is Sarah." Sarah waved slightly. I nodded awkwardly. "Hey." She was 25. I learned that later. At the time, I just noticed she looked comfortable, not trying too hard. Dark hair tied loosely, simple jeans, a light sweater. There was something calm about her. "Coffee?" my mom asked. I shrugged. "Sure." I sat down, mostly out of politeness. Usually when my mom had friends over, I avoided the situation completely. But Sarah asked questions. Not the boring kind adults usually ask. "What do you do? Do you actually like it? What would you do if you could quit tomorrow?" Her tone wasn't judgmental, just curious. "I'm a graphic designer," I said. "Do you enjoy it?" "Some days." She laughed softly. That's the most honest answer I've heard all week. The conversation kept going longer than I expected. Eventually, my mom got up to answer a phone call, leaving the two of us alone at the table. For a moment, we both just looked at our coffee. "So," she said, "you always this quiet, only around people I don't know." "That's fair." She smiled again. I noticed small things then. The way she held the mug with both hands. The way she leaned forward when listening. It felt easy. Not exciting. Just easy. And that was rare for me. I'd spent most of the past year feeling disconnected from everything. Work felt repetitive. Friends were busy with their own lives. Dating apps felt like conversations that died before they even started. But sitting there, talking to Sarah, time moved strangely. Not fast, not slow, just natural. "What about you?" I asked. "What do you do?" "I work at a publishing company," she said. "Mostly editing." "That sounds intense." "It's mostly correcting commas," she laughed. My mom came back eventually, and the conversation shifted again. But something small had already happened. Later that evening, Sarah stood near the door getting ready to leave. "It was nice meeting you," she said. "You too." She hesitated for a second. "Maybe I'll see you around," she said casually. I shrugged. "Probably." She smiled again. But after she left, I found myself standing in the hallway longer than necessary, thinking about someone I had only just met, and wondering why. Sarah started coming around more often. At first, it was always with my mom. Coffee visits, small dinners, casual conversations. But gradually, something changed. One evening, my mom had to run an errand and left us alone again. "Movie?" Sarah suggested. "Sure." We sat on opposite sides of the couch. At first, halfway through the movie, we were both leaning toward the center. Neither of us mentioned it. A week later, we went to a small bookstore cafe. Sarah spent 20 minutes debating between two novels. "You're an editor," I said. "Shouldn't this be easy?" "That makes it worse." "Why?" "Because I know exactly how picky I am." She finally chose one and held it up proudly. "Commitment," she said. Another time we walked through a night market. Street lights glowing, music in the background. She tried some spicy food and immediately regretted it. "Why would anyone eat this voluntarily?" she gasped. I handed her water. "You chose it." "Because the guy said it was medium." That was a lie. We laughed for 10 straight minutes. One night we ended up sitting on the roof of my building. City lights everywhere. We talked about random things at first. Music, childhood memories, bad jobs. Then the conversation shifted. "I moved around a lot growing up," she said quietly. "Hard." "Yeah." Every time things felt stable, we moved again. She looked out over the city. "So now I'm always afraid things will change." I didn't know what to say, so I just sat there beside her. That was the night she leaned her head on my shoulder. Neither of us mentioned it. Soon routines formed. Morning messages, late night calls, weekend coffee. Nothing dramatic. Just two people slowly building a place where they felt comfortable. But once, during a quiet moment, she said something that stuck with me. "I've always wanted to live somewhere new someday," she said. "Maybe another country. I laughed lightly. I've never even left this city. She smiled. See, opposites. At the time, it felt like a small detail. Nothing important. Things didn't change suddenly. They rarely do. It started with small conversations about the future. One evening, we were cooking dinner together. I might apply for a position in another office, Sarah said casually. Here. She shook her head. Maybe abroad. I tried to sound relaxed. That's big. Just an idea. But the idea stayed in the room long after the conversation ended. Later that night, I kept thinking about it. About distance. About change. About how stable my own life was compared to her restless curiosity. Nothing was wrong between us. But silence started appearing more often. Not uncomfortable. Just thoughtful. The call came on a rainy afternoon. Sarah was sitting on my couch when her phone rang. She listened quietly, then said, "Thank you." When she hung up, she didn't speak right away. What happened? I asked. She looked at me. They offered me the job. Where? London. The word hung in the room. I watched her hands twist together. You should take it, I said automatically. She looked up quickly. You think so? It's what you wanted. She nodded slowly. Neither of us mentioned the obvious part. After that, things became strange. We still talked every day, but the tone changed. Shorter messages. More pauses. She started preparing for the move. Paperwork. Packing lists. Calls with the new office. One evening we went to our usual cafe. We laughed about something stupid. For a moment, everything felt normal again. Then her phone buzzed. Flight confirmation, she said quietly. The moment disappeared. That night, I typed a message after she went home. Are we going to be okay? I stared at the screen for a long time, then deleted it. 2 nights before her flight, we sat on my apartment balcony, city lights blinking in the distance. Neither of us spoke for a while. Finally, she said, I've been thinking a lot. Me too. She looked down at her hands. I don't think long distance is fair to either of us. I nodded slowly. Yeah. Silence again. You deserve someone whose life fits with yours, she said. You do too. She looked up. There were tears in her eyes, but she was smiling. Timing is strange, she said softly. Yeah. We sat there for a long time. Then she stood up. So this is it. I nodded. Yeah. She hugged me tightly. And then she said the quietest sentence I've ever heard. I think we met at the right moment, just not the right future. Months passed. Life slowly settled again. Work felt normal. The apartment felt quiet. Sarah and I didn't stay in touch. Not because of anger, because some chapters are meant to stay closed. But sometimes I still think about that year. How easy things felt. How natural it all was. Not every love story ends badly. Some just end honestly. And maybe that's what makes them real. Sometimes the right person enters your life just to teach you how to let go with love.